I know some Boca Raton in the house over here. Got some Floridians. There we go. Right. Who's from Texas? Some Texas. Got that yeehaw. Everyone thinks of Fort Worth when they think of Texas. It's like not that at all. Fort Worth is Fort Worth. No, really, this is where you could poll people and ask them what you think of Texas. And it's not that at all. Gents, if I can just get your attention for the cameras. Thank you so much. Texas, and they think Fort Worth, but it's not that at all. Because Texas is Austin, the capital. It's like startup city here. Some amazing facts and figures. Austin's growth has been tremendous. Number one in startup growth per capita. Some huge, I should say, large count of VCs have moved to the city. Some of those we've had on stage, Tyler Norwood comes to mind. With Antler VC, they moved down. And we'll have a couple people here in the next 2 days on stage. We'll hold 20 different panels. The media stage. So you're here at Grit Daily House. You're just joining us. It's named after the news outlet, Grit Daily, and its sister publication, Block Telegraph, which couldn't work its way into the name. But we do this every year. We're mostly here during South by Southwest in March. We had a hell of a 6 days there. We put on content, had 101 speakers. I think it was 33 panels. 76 of those 101 speakers were women. So a big round of applause for all the women out there, especially in the WebFree space. They're awesome time. If you're looking for women speakers, we have them. You'll see one in just a bit with Rachel Wolfson. I'd be remiss to not point out a couple of really awesome people here. Someone who's become a friend, gregarious guy. Turns out he's a podcast machine. At some point you'll hear some episodes from him. Karim Noorani is here. CSO at Link2, and for those of you who are uninitiated on Link2, it's a popular pre-IPO investment app. So if the markets are volatile for you, you want to get in stuff that's a little less liquid perhaps, but is liquid through this app, check out Link2. That's with the Q, Linqto. Wow, first time I've ever said that wrong. Linqto. Check that out. On a separate beat. Talk to him. He's super friendly. He's right here in the front. Point him right out. Ido Sofer is here. We're going to see here from him in just a bit. Where is Ido? There he is. Naturally. Ido runs Zengo. He's had a hell of a trip all the way from Israel.
He doesn't run it, but yeah, he's senior.
He's senior. Well, he's running it today. This is official, and it's on the record. It's on the record. And then just a little bit. I'll invite you up for just a minute, Lou, in just a few seconds. But just unpack this more. A lot of inquiring minds are out there, and they're asking, Jordan, what is a media house? What does that even mean? Well, the concept actually, from my point of view, started here in Austin. It started during South by. It's a species of a place where there is a stage where media are generally welcome. What's different a little bit about us, we invite other outlets on. So you hear from Cointelegraph over the next 2 days when we will have content from 11 a.m. to about 6 p.m., including on the podcast studio inside. We'll see folks from CNBC, NASDAQ, which is a news outlet now, right, in part, Business Insider, folks right from CoinDesk who are right down the road and sanctioned this event to happen. They let Grit Daily run the media stage. And so that's a good one. Big round of applause for CoinDesk and all the hard work that they do to build and help build this ecosystem for all of us to participate. And big thanks to them for letting us do what we do and recognizing what we do as Grit Daily. They find it, at least they tell me, they find it super valuable that we do this and work with a lot of the other outlets. Yeah, Business Insider, another big one that you'll see is Axios. They're up here a couple of times. Some names to see. So I want to introduce you though, because this is Crypto Mondays day. I know it's a Wednesday, but you can inquire with Lou about how that happened. Lou, come on up here. All you know, Lou Kerner, if you don't, the phenom who runs so many Crypto Mondays. I feel like in practically every country, I'm going to hand you a mic so you can share more.
All right, so this is sweet. So we just met a few months ago at Paris Blockchain Week, and it was an epic few days. Who here was at Paris Blockchain Week? Was it pretty epic? Yeah. It was by a wide margin the best dressed crypto conference I had ever been to by a very wide margin. And you threw an epic dinner, and that's where we met. And I said, "Hey, I want to work with this guy. Tell him about your dinner, now what you're doing here."
Well, there's one important aspect. So Lou mentioned that it was well dressed. We ran with that, right? And so a lot of well dressed people there. It was inside of the Paris Stock Exchange. It's a really old building. It's really ornate. Think of what they do in France, and then like Paris is like France on speed, right? So this old stock exchange, really beautiful building put together. We'll dress up for it. What do? Black tie only, like even wear antique tuxes and dresses if you want. So it's a beautiful scene with some really good pictures from it. It's the Paris Blockchain Week Summit dinner that we ran with Celsius at the time. And so we met there, great crowd, a lot of speakers from Paris Blockchain Week Summit, as one would do or be there. But it's been a whirlwind already. I think we'll work together a heck of a lot more. It's worked out
exactly.
this far.
But seriously, my major takeaway from that event was, fuck, Celsius got their money's worth from that dinner. They really did. It was awesome. I made some great contacts. And now, so for those who don't know me, I'm Luke Kerner. I'm best known for starting CryptoMondays, which is a meetup I started in New York on January 8th, 2018, which is notable because that was the peak market cap day for 2 years, I'm sorry. So we were actually kind of celebrating crypto winter.
Well timed.
Yeah.
You're right on time. Although it didn't feel like a winter.
But I would say that we are a lagging indicator. So the second week we had 20% more people than we did at the first one. We had 3 TV crews. And my favorite Crypto Monday story happened with that one. So I got there an hour early because I was so excited. Oh my God. And I was drinking with some friends just to calm down. About a half hour before it started, some guy walks in with his 12-year-old son. And he parks his 12-year-old son there and he says, "Hey," he says, walks over to me across the room and he goes, "Are you Luke Kerner?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "My 12-year-old son wants to pitch you his ICO." And I was so fucking excited, and all I could think was, fuck, if 12-year-olds are pitching you their ICO, I'm pretty sure we're at the peak of the bubble. Right? And I did not want to talk to his son. I seriously, it was so weird, but what are you going to say? I said, "I'd love to talk to your son." So the son comes over, and he fucking killed it. He fucking killed it. Oh my God. And we had 3 TV crews, and they were all like, "Who should we talk to?" I'm going, "You should talk to him." And that was Monday night. Wednesday morning, he was on Good Morning America. And his name is George Weitzner. And George started a company called Pocket Full of Quarters. And Pocket Full of Quarters is a cross game. He solved a problem that he had, right? He got tokens in one game and he wanted to use it in another, but he couldn't do it. So he created Pocket Full of Quarters, and it's today the first SEC approved ERC20 token. And his father, who's the CEO of Pocket Full of Quarters, is going to be here a little later tonight. I'm sorry, Tim Trello. Is Tim here? He's one of the other partners at the firm. Is going to be here later tonight for Fireside Chat. And that's Crypto Mondays. So here we are. It's almost coming up to the 4.5 years. I was just in Lisbon for the 77th, right? You were in Lisbon. How was it? Crypto Mondays Lisbon.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And it's just people getting together in the community and blah, 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 like we're doing tonight. So I'd like to turn it over now to Rachel, who's, a crypto. If you don't know Rachel Wolfson, she is I think you're a crypto OG at this point, right? Right? She flies around the world, and she is, one of the leading, thought leaders. And she's going to be talking with Ido from Xengo, who's got, before I got into crypto, I was focused on tech companies founded by Israelis. And I continue to go there 10 days a quarter. After I got in, because obviously they're crypto crazy, and what's going on there is insane. So let's give it up for Rachel and Ido.
Rachel, if you want to make your way on the on-ramp, come on up here, and then I'm going to, you want to go the off-ramp? I'm going to hand you this mic, Ido.
On. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Thank you again, Jordan, Lou, Rick Daly, CoinDesk. It's wonderful to be here. I'm Rachel Wolfson, as Lou said. I'm a senior reporter with Cointelegraph. I'm super excited to be here with Ido. He is the VP of Business and Strategy at Zengo.
Got it right, yeah.
Wonderful. So today we're just going to be chatting about Zengo, custodial versus non-custodial wallets, WebFree wallets, what all of that means. But I think to start off the conversation, Ido, I'd like to ask you just for a brief introduction to yourself and Zengo as well.
Sure. So first of all, super excited to be here. It's great people, great vibe, and call me crazy, but I actually like the weather here. Yeah, I deserve that laugh. All right. So 2 words about Zengo. So Zengo is a non-custodial crypto wallet. Now there are tons of crypto wallets out there. So 2 main things that differentiate Zengo from other wallets. One, and that's a bit of a bold statement, but Zengo is the most secure Web3 wallet out there. The most secure. It's a bold statement. We'll deep dive into that later. But this is something that is our life mission, and that to protect the assets of us, all of us. And the second thing about Zengo is we're 100% laser focused about our users. So that doesn't mean only very beautiful UX, and that means also other stuff, like we have 24/7 live customer support with a response time of under 1 minute. It's something that you just don't have, because the space is very much focused about technology, but not about people, and we're laser focused about people. And actually everybody in the management does at least 1 hour of customer support a week, also our CEO, and that's our way of saying there's nothing more important than our users, to understand what's their pain points and what we need to do.
Tell them
to
about
get into the
Ido.
service.
Tell them about your founder. Who's the founder?
Right, yeah.
Because he's a pretty epic guy.
Yeah, so Uriel Ochayon, yeah, he's the founder. He's a very successful guy. He did a couple of things in Web 2 before. Also an investor, and founded Xengo. Went to the B2C world, and it's a very competitive landscape. But yeah, and that's our life mission, to provide the most secure Web3 wallet out there for all of us.
Great, wonderful. So let's dig into this a little bit. First of all, Ido, what does Web3 wallet mean exactly?
Fantastic. Yeah. So we use the word crypto wallet, and we use the word Web3 wallet, and so I'll tell you what's my take on it. So crypto wallet, right? And so you can send, receive, buy, sell, trade, all of the centralized things. But once that you can also connect to decentralized applications, then for me it's a Web3 wallet. And that, by the way, that really changed the way that wallets are positioned now in this space. And we can dive into that now if you want later. All right, so let's take a step back, like a year and a half ago. So we had non-custodial wallets, and we have exchanges like Binance. And there was really not much of a difference. I mean, you want to buy Bitcoin, you want to hold Bitcoin, and that's essentially what you do with it. And being custodial was a lot easier, because you don't pay network fees. It's very instant. It's very easy to set up, but it's not yours. But I would say a year and a half ago, the main question was, can I buy coffee with my Bitcoin? And then the on-ramp, the off-ramp, and a lot of crypto cards, and that was the main thing. But in the last year, I think that things changed. Now, we had 2 major events. One is DeFi Summer, Aave, Compound, Uniswap, all of those, and we got to $150 billion worth only on Ethereum in DeFi. And the second thing is NFTs. I mean, who heard of NFTs, right? I mean, us a year and a half ago. And that was just 2 insane booms. And those things happen only on-chain. And if you don't own them, it doesn't mean anything. You want to go to the Moonbirds party in NFT NYC. You need to prove that you're an owner. And if you're in a custodial exchange, you just can't do it. So non-custodial wallets actually became something entirely different. And we can talk about it a bit more if you want.
Sure. Also, you mentioned that Zengo is extremely secure. Can you talk about that a bit more in detail?
Yeah. First of all, I want to ask a question. Did someone here lose a key to his car, to his house, the past 5 years ago. You know, raise your hand. All right, I have one here. I'll admit I lost one. I think I saw a smile over there. So we get used to I would say a twisted standard that if that happens to you in crypto, it's a death sentence. You lost your key and that's it. Everything you worked for is just evaporated in front of your eyes. And that's something that is just I don't think that we can live with. And Xengo actually removed that vulnerability. And I'm not a technical guy, but so I'll try to explain it in a very simple way. But it's the technology that we use is called MPC, multi-party computation. Now, essentially, what that does is instead of having 24 words of like a phrase or seed or whatever in order to have your private key, then once the wallet is created, there are two parts that are created in several places. One on the user's cloud, and the second one is in the company servers. And those parts never meet. So essentially, it's a keyless wallet. And so what does that mean to us as users? You can't lose your private key. Nobody can steal your private key. No phishing and nothing of that. So that essentially solves 90% of the problems currently in the space. And MPC, you know, it sounds like something out of this world, but actually it's been around, but only institutionals and big companies enjoy it. You know, Fireblocks, probably most of you are aware of Fireblocks, so that's what they do. They do MPC, but they allow it, they enable it for large institutions. And us as retail, we don't get that opportunity. So this is something that we bring to this space. So Xengo is based on MPC, and this is currently the leading technology in security. And also there are a lot of other pain points. So if we talk about DeFi and other stuff, so smart contracts introduced a lot of other problems, and we see every day that things are getting hacked, and somebody lost his apes, and somebody lost his, and we get accustomed to it. But this is something that for us, we see our users and we see other users, and we see, so it doesn't happen to Zengo users, but for other wallets it happens very often, and I can't disclose all the details, but we're going to have a very major announcement later this month, and we're actually partnering with one of the largest companies in the space, and we're going to present a solution to that. So for Zengo users, this thing is going to be obsolete, and if you're gonna use a DApp, and then you get this message of sign this transaction, and you don't know what it means, so you just sign it, and maybe you just gave someone permission to take all your assets. So this is something that is gonna be history in the next couple of months. So we're super excited about this, and we think that we're gonna really change the space with it.
Right, so you make a lot of good points, and you mentioned that it's basically a keyless wallet. That's really interesting. If you could elaborate a bit on what exactly that means, and also explain, is Zengo geared more towards crypto natives or non-crypto natives, or everyone? Because it seems like this feature may be more geared towards non-crypto natives, but I want to get your opinion on that.
Fantastic. I think it's a very smart point, Rachel. And so Zengo is very, very simple. So if users want to onboard to crypto, so usually Zengo is one of the most popular wallets out there. And I didn't mention, but we have more than 500,000 downloads, and we're very fast growing. So we're talking about mass adoption. So yeah, so Zengo takes like 30 seconds to set up. It's very easy. The UX is super simple. So yeah, you're right. So the non-crypto users or the non-SEG users are a large proportion. But because of the security advantages, so we see a big change in the last couple of months, and we see a lot of crypto natives rushing to Zengo because of the security effects, and because they feel more protected, to be honest, more than hardware wallets and more than others. So right now, we're seeing a big change. So we have that amount of users that are not crypto native, but also a huge proportion of crypto native users that are rushing to Zengo because of the Web3 security that we have.
When you say keyless wallet, so what exactly does that mean? How does that work?
Yeah. So as I started to say, so when you set up your wallet, so basically instead of one private key that is being produced, so there are two separate parts. One is produced on your iCloud or your cloud or Google Drive as a user, and the second one is on the company servers. Now, when you want to sign a transaction, so what happens, there's a mathematical proof that those parts exist, but they never meet. So think about what that means. That means that basically no one can hack those two. I mean, you can't get possession of those two, and those parts never meet. So any attacker that either wants to extract that private key out of you or the systems that we use is just not possible. So there's no, in that sense, there's no key, one key, ever that is in one place. So you can lose it and it can be stolen. So that's why it's essentially a keyless wallet. There's no one private key ever.
Okay. Now, what other features are unique to Zengo besides the security and being non-custodial? Because it is, as you say, a Web3 wallet. So I'm just curious to know about other features that may be associated with Web3 wallets, like Zengo.
Fantastic. So first of all, Zengo is a super app, and that's because users want simplicity, and they want everything there and very easy and very accessible. So of course, you can send and you can receive, you can buy, you can sell, and we have Alice here from Banksa, one of our partners, on-ramp partners that users can purchase with, and you can also exchange, trade, and also earn interest on your crypto, and it's multi-chain. Other than that, you can also use Wallet Connect and connect to decentralized applications. So you can also buy NFTs, invest in DeFi, and all that stuff, or use Kevin here from Etherscan. It's one of the best products that our users use to see those transactions. So actually you can do, there's an entire suite of things that you can do, and you can do everything in Zengo.
Great. So, I want to shift the conversation a little bit to talk a little bit about your background, because I think this is interesting. You come from a traditional financial background. You're with the Israeli Ministry of Finance, and now you've switched into the crypto space, the Web3 space. Can you talk a little bit about that transition and why you made that transition?
Yeah, so yeah, it's a bit of a shift. So before Zengo, I actually spent 7 years in the Ministry of Finance, doing mostly policy, in industry, trade, and also innovation. And I think that it sounds very different, but for me, I would say it's 2 points in the same path. So my end goal, also in the Ministry of Finance, was in the end to allow, citizens, the Israeli citizens in this case, have more options and a better economical life. And we did that lifting trades for barriers and increasing competition, but essentially I look at crypto the same way. So we are providing users more ways to accumulate and to allow payments and so on, and we create competition. The crypto space creates competition to the traditional finance that sometimes it doesn't, the service and the fees and so on. There are a lot of underserved people in this world, and there's a lot of people that are getting screwed by the traditional finance, right? So crypto also provides that. So I do see it as 2 points in the same direction. Having said that, there's also less bright things in crypto, right? There's a lot of scams and whatever, and we allocate a lot of resources to fight scams and to protect our users and other users. So crypto will serve its purpose, the original purpose of allowing more diversity. So.
Got it. Now, because you made the shift from traditional finance to crypto, if anybody else, here attending this panel today, is thinking the same, do you have any advice to give them on, how to make that leap?
Yeah. So one thing, Lou mentioned Uriel, our founder, and one thing that he keeps saying is, you can read and you can watch videos all day long, but until you try it, until you actually set up a wallet and you try to buy, and then you try to buy an NFT and so on, you don't understand how it is, and you don't understand the pain points, and you don't understand what you need in order to create a good product that will serve others. So, if I can say something, go ahead and try, do your research, and feel what it is to be a user, and always look from a user perspective, and then you understand everything. You know what's a good product, and what you need in order to be good in this space, and what users really need. So that's my main advice.
Got it. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've been in the industry since 2017, but you really start to understand once you take that leap, once you buy crypto on your own, once you have it in a wallet, and then you start to really understand it. So, you make a really good point. That's great advice. Going back to Zengo and the features, can you talk a little bit about what we might see moving forward? I mean, Web3 is quickly advancing, so are there any other features that we might be seeing, as things advance?
Yeah, so just a quick recap on where wallets are going. So currently, if we look at non-custodial wallets, so I made the point earlier that they're a different animal now. So basically, in order to participate in Web3, you must have a non-custodial wallet, because everything has its own chain. So if you want to own an NFT, if you want to own, if you want to enjoy the benefits of DeFi, so you need a non-custodial wallet. So currently, wallets right now are, I would say, browsers, gateways to that, and other than that, there's also where you store your identity. So this is where I put my card, and I put, my social proofs of my profile picture, and this is where my economy is. So when you look at it, first of all, as something that needs to be super secure. And other than that,
The dog is very excited.
I think that, yeah,
I've got a dog who loves crypto also.
that's for sure.
You can find her on
That's
Twitter.
for sure. But
Anyways,
basically,
continue.
yeah, sure. But other than that, yeah, so I think that the thing that most of the wallets look right now is really security. And I think we're 2 steps ahead of the game, and we're going to be a couple more in the end of this month and the following quarter. So first of all is security, and really enabling users, if you want users to store their identity, like we have, in your phone, my phone, so it needs to be secure, and it needs to allow you to do everything, So this is the path that everybody is going to, and this is the path that we're going to lead in the next quarters.
Right. So, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Why would, or how is Zengo different, unique than something like a ledger or a hardware wallet that's also, non-custodial?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So, first of all, just to say, those are great products, yeah, but I think there's a bit of a misconception about hardware wallets, because I think the dog doesn't like hardware wallets. But
No. Dog is all about Zengo.
Yeah, but the thing is, it is safe when you don't transact. But if you use a hardware wallet, right, and you store everything there, but once you connect and you want to transact, then you have the same vulnerabilities as every other wallet, basically. So it is safe sometimes, if you store it in a safe. But once you want to do something with it, it has the same vulnerabilities as all the other non-custodial wallets, such as MetaMask and so on. So, and Xengo gets you covered, 360. So that's a core differentiator about the security. And I think there's a big misconception about that and a big misunderstanding. But, you follow Twitter and see how many users that have hardware wallets are getting hacked. And you see that it happens because eventually you want to transact, you want to send, you want to receive, so this is a big difference between us and them.
Right, and also you mentioned a good point at the beginning of our conversation, Ido, that Zengo has 24/7 customer support, and a lot of these hardware wallets don't, obviously. So I think that's a big differentiator as well.
Yeah, so 24/7 live customer support, yeah, it's something that we're very, very much proud of. And I think that people don't understand the importance of it until something goes sour. And then, you want someone to talk to. And you want to understand what's going on, and you want someone to help you. And we're used to this also standard, yeah, that, it's your fault. And if you messed up, then, there's nobody to talk to, and it's very brutal out there. So, but what we are about, we're about, we work with our users, and we give them a hand to do everything from the first step and accompany them to the whole wide world. And actually, it's not only 24/7 live customer support. We produce content, videos, blogs, and great educational content, also about how to protect yourself, but also about what you can do out there in the world. So it's trying to provide users everything they need to do well in Web3.
I wanted to open it up to questions from the audience, Ito, but before I do that, I wanted to ask you your thoughts, just in general, on the future of Web3 and wallets. Where do you think we're headed? Do you think we're going to see more competitors to Zengo, or just what does the future hold? I guess.
Yeah, so first of all, we see a lot of wallets out there and new wallets, but also, I mean, I'm going back to that point of looking at it from the user perspective. I don't think that any of us would like a wallet for any, for every feature that we have. So you have a wallet for Twitter, and you have a wallet for, for DeFi. And so if you have 20 wallets, it's not going to go. So probably there are currently, I would say, 10 up to 10 or 5 or 10 crews that are very good at what they do as a wallet, and it's very hard to produce a very good wallet. So I would reckon that currently we see a lot of wallets pop out there like mushrooms, but I think that there will be a consolidation, and only the strongest teams will survive, and we're definitely going to be one of them. So that's a bit about ourselves. And when we talk about mass adoption, then basically, I mean, a lot of users that come to crypto, they want an NFT. They don't care about keys. They don't care about everything that we talk about here. They just want a very good service. So they want an NFT, and all right, how do I get it? Oh, I need a wallet. But they expect the same service that we get when we use PayPal or use any other traditional finance. So I think this is where the space is heading, to a very, very high quality service, very high quality security, and that will distinguish, that will drive mass adoption. And I don't think that a lot of teams will be able to do that.
Right. Any final thoughts before I ask the questions, if they have, the audience, if they have any questions?
Yeah, I'll just say that if someone here wants to experience Xengo, so feel free, you have here the QR code, and I'm going to hang around here for a couple of hours, and try it, download it, find me, show me your QR code, and I'll send you a quick gift in Bitcoin, so you can try it out, right? So a small gift from me. So feel free, and as I told you, trying is also better than listening to people on stage.
Nice, small gift in Bitcoin. That's super appealing.
Also you, Rachel. It applies to you as well.
It sounds amazing, obviously. Well, thank you. I'm going to let the audience ask some questions because I'm sure everybody has something. So I saw your hand first. Go ahead.
Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm interested in learning more about your wallet. I'm curious, and my apologies if I kind of came in late and I'm having to repeat something, but I would like to know if Zengo is a custodial wallet, and if it is or if it isn't, what is your company doing to promote data sovereignty, financial sovereignty for its customers?
So first of all, Zengo is non-custodial, but it has a unique approach regarding the key management. And it's called MPC security. Essentially, you don't have a key. It's a keyless wallet, and we create two parts: one in the server of our company, one in the clouds of the company, and those two parts never meet. So you're protected from losing your key, and also from stealing it and phishing and so on. And so this is one thing. And about data, so of course we're GDPR approved, and we keep everything. You only need an email to register to Xengo, and that's basically all the data that we have on the user. Okay. Thank you.
I was looking at the site for Zengo, and I saw there's a face scan for the multi-factor authentication. I was curious to see how you'll deal with face scans and how you derive deterministic answers, or at least partially deterministic from face scans.
Yeah, so
faces change all the time.
Fantastic. So there's two parts to your question. Now, the deterministic proof is a bit technical, and I won't get into that, but we can elaborate later. But I didn't mention the factoring. So the way that once you want to restore your account, your wallet, you know, if you switch phones or you delete it or whatever. So with MetaMask, for example, you need to, you know, you have the seed phrase and you hope to God that you didn't miss something because, you know, that will be the end of your life. So in Xengo, we do something else. So you do a face scan, and it's actually a liveness check. So once you want to restore it, then, you know, it matches your face scan. Then those two parts, the medical proof, they signed the transaction, and this is how your wallet is restored. And I'll just say that being a liveness check, so it's bulletproof. So actually, when Zengo started, so we put a Bitcoin in a wallet, and we it was our founder's face was the key to unlock it. And we said, you know, you want to get it? This is the face, you know, and go and try to get a photo or whatever, and try to get it. And I'm not. It's not there yet because, you know, it's not there because we took it after a year or so. But it wasn't. It can be hacked. So this is it works like magic, by the way. It's very fun. So you just put your face, and then, you know, the account is stored. So thank you for raising that question and about the cryptographical proof. So we can talk about it a bit. Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
So the question is, why is multi-signature is needed? Right. So it's a different kind of solution, actually. So by the way, you can think about it as a multi-sig, where Zengo is one of the owners. Yeah, but we're not gonna do that. The thing that is possible, and actually it also relates to inheritance, which is a huge problem. You can add a secondary face. So by the way, yeah. So this is something. By the way, we're thinking a lot about inheritance problems. It's a huge issue in the space. But yeah, we'll probably touch that a bit later. I agree. Yeah, I'll be happy to talk about that.
You know, I had a quick question. I wanted to actually address it during the conversation, but I'll ask you now. You mentioned interest, that you can earn interest on your assets with Zengo. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So in Zengo itself, we have a bank team, centralized finance solution with a company called Nexo. Highly trusted, insured, and so on. So you can earn 8% on your stablecoins, for example. You can earn 4% on your Bitcoin. And you can also connect to example, you can earn 4% on your Bitcoin. And you can also connect to dApps, and you can earn, you know, with others, such as Stakewise, you can earn 6% on staking ETH and so on. So what that allows users is also to diversify their portfolio between centralized finance and decentralized finance. And I'll say, you know, of course it's not a financial advice, but this is something that I do. So I diversify where I put my money. So I use also centralized and also use decentralized places because, you know, those kind of high interests also have risks behind them, and diversification is something that is recommended in this case. So yeah, so we have that. And it's baked in, but you can also use DeFi if you want with it.
Interesting. Any other questions from the audience? If there's anything you want to know about Zengo or WebFree wallets, anything at all, don't be shy. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we are out of time, so thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been a great conversation, Ido, thank you. And if you guys have any other questions, you can find us after the panel. I'm on Twitter, Rachel Wolf00. And Ido, are you on Twitter?
I am, yeah. Yeah, so Ido So, IDOSO. Feel free to find me.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Big round of applause for Rachel Wolfson, Cointelegraph. You can go off-road if you want to do that. That's what I recommend. That's what I recommend. And, for Rachel Wolfson, I know you guys are mid-clap. And Ido Sofer, the one and only. Let's set this down. With Xengo. Ido, they had a lot of questions for you. I think there might be more. And so he's very friendly. He's literally right there for those who are just joining us. for those who are just joining us. For those who are just joining us, we're in Zengo. He was awesome. Came in all the way from Israel. That's where I was going with that train of thought. All the way from Israel to join us. Lengthy flight. He's having a good time, and it's so good to see you again, Rachel. And she'll be back, I think on Friday. Yes. And so for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Jordan French. We're on Grit Daily, the news outlet based up in New York. It's won a lot of awards for its coverage. Covered like 10,000 startups, sister publications, Blog Telegraph. And this day, we're here, rather, I should say, at Grit Daily House on the media stage.
Hold on a minute.
With none other than
Ito? Hey, come back. Yeah, I know you're going out there, but come back. Now, go, continue. That's it. Go. I know you're going. Go.
You wanted to point him out?
No, I just wanted to blah, blah, blah. Go on.
Okay. Well, that's what we do here. No, get the.
Can you move on?
Oh, is that my mic or his? Oh, that's your mic. No, see, this whole time I was thinking it was me, and I'm like,
Just to get away from the speaker.
just step away from the microphone. Actually, step away from the speaker. You get a little bit of interference. You can learn a lot here at Grit Daily House, as you see what happens behind the scenes. This is a media stage for a Consensus Festival. Yes, we are an official satellite event to CoinDesk Consensus. I know a lot of you are in here, are in town for Consensus. Make it raise hands for all y'all who are here for Consensus Festival. Awesome. Well, that's what this is too. So Grit Daily House, we're lucky enough, privileged enough, work hard for it to collaborate with CoinDesk on Consensus Festival media stage. It also wouldn't be possible for none other than Lou Kerner, who runs and founded CryptoMondays. Big round of applause for Lou Kerner. No.
So close. Okay, thank you, Jordan, for it. Seriously, this guy crushes it. So thank you for bringing the community here and let us blah, blah, blah with the folks that we're going to blah, blah, blah with.
Yeah, definitely just a little bit of housekeeping, because I know a lot of you here waiting in drizzling anticipation for none other than Lule Demissi of eToro US. He's right here with us. We'll give it just a moment. Just a moment to point out a couple quick things. Karim Narani's here. Awesome. This wouldn't be possible without Karim and the Link 2 team behind it. Some new.
All right, Kareem. Give it up. Yeah.
Karim
Big
Narani
crush
here.
it.
Super friendly.
Me too.
Say hi to him. You'll see him a lot
Me too.
tomorrow. Again, this is media stage for CoinDesk for Consensus Festival. We'll be here the rest of today, and then also tomorrow, 11 to 6, and also on the 10th with Laguna and all y'all know Stefan Rust, former CEO at Bitcoin.com. So without delay, I promise you, Lule Demissi, she is here. Watch your step there, Lule. A little bit of a beat. And Lule, I'm going to hand you this. Mic. And let Lou and you take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, let's give it up.
Enough for you.
So,
We were talking back there.
yes, we were. So,
And the prep work we did is we said, what are we blah blah blahing about? That's how sophisticated this is, yeah.
exactly. But, you know, obviously you're sitting in this chair for a reason. So help us understand that reason.
Why am I here
Because
for a reason?
eToro is obviously one
Yeah,
of
so
the
I don't know if
epic.
anybody knows eToro here. eToro is a trading investing platform. I'm the US CEO of eToro
And it was started in
in Israel. And it's a social trading platform where you can comment on our social environment. We can trade crypto. Now we just launched stocks in the US. We also have a lot of training for investors who want to be able to do it. Like you, we believe that learning is only done by doing. So we really have like a platform that's for the learning by doing kind of environment. And we're so committed to this community. Even though we have stocks, for us, the digital asset community is really where the future's at. And we're excited to be here. And Consensus is here as well.
That's great. So, community is one of these words we hear a lot. How do you define community?
I mean, in the essence of community, from my perspective, I'm originally from Ethiopia, so community is it's my cultural heartbeat. But at the end of the day, community is a group of individuals that have like-mindedness associated with them, where they have a symbiosis of helping one another, supporting one another. And yes, I agree with that. Shiva's great. So ultimately, it's really a mechanism by which it helps individuals to have a force multiplier to the things that they do. But it also has another magical component, which is that it is the power and force behind being able to change the status quo, right? Finance doesn't change without the status quo changing, and I think that individuals can't do that all by themselves, communities do.
And so when you think about how you're investing in your community, how do you think about the ROI of that?
I mean, I don't even know if I look at it through the lens of a financial ROI. If you're being more global in your perspective of human ROI, I think it is essentially, in my opinion, the force multiplier that changes things, right? So in our instance, we have a community of investors on our platform. To my mind's eye, if we do this experiment right at eToro, it means you don't have to have some ivory tower to know how to manage money, right? You could get a followership because of your expertise, whether you're in Kuala Lumpur or Nepal, and have the same level of influence and chutzpah and ability that some dude who was, born and bred in Harvard can have. So I think that that's the power of that access, that community of first people.
And so now you've been there, what have been the major lessons you've learned in the time that you've been there?
This is a crazy ass community. That's one thing. I love it. I feel very blessed to have. My background is I was in investing, but more like Wall Street capital markets investing for individuals for a long time, and I really believe in investing in capital markets. But when I came back to the digital asset, I was intentional about coming into this community because the reality is when I was running stuff on traditional finance, it was only white dudes looking at me across the table. And this is just.
I'll try not to take offense to that.
I won't take offense. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of lonely to be a sprinkling ice, a sprinkler. And
I get it.
So, but I think what was so exciting about this side of it was like the very power of the ability that it can deconstruct the normal, that it could break normal. That, as I said, where things that are either too expensive, inaccessible, not innovative enough, that I think digital assets make possible, that just simple capital markets infrastructures can't.
Right. But obviously, as awesome as breaking the normal is, that's just like the entry point.
That is definitely the entry point.
Right. But now, how do you bring real utility to the community?
Yeah, I mean, I think in several ways. So first of all, the utility, what's so exciting about digital assets to me is if any given innovation in, let's say the .com bubble, right? It solved maybe 3 or 4 layers of use cases in society, right? That's so exciting to me about digital assets is you take that 3 or 4 layers and you can go down to 100 layers. There's just so many use cases that digital assets could solve that I think traditional infrastructure cannot, right? And partly because it's the reality of the Internet of Things. So how do we power people? So the lane I play in is I always take people, right? You got to be an investor. Only investors end up having money to transfer to their heirs, not everybody else. So one is dabbling as an investor and understanding it. The other is dabbling as a user, right? You can be part of this community and become, whether it's a DAO or something that you do that becomes part of the building side of this community. And then the other thing, which is my favorite thing, I live in Brooklyn and I sit on my stoop and educate my neighbors, my family about this, which is you could be a teacher. And this is and you don't have to be a PhD to be a teacher in this space. What's so great about it. So I think there's so many ways that individuals can partake in this, but I think the power of it is, as I said, is that force multiplier, 100 plus, for that 3x of what the .com bubble did, or the .com innovations did. This is to me exponential in terms of the power that it could have in democratizing finance and creating ability to have access to capital. Like at eToro, we have also a nonprofit that it's called the Good Dollar. And it's a mechanism by which it's an experiment.
And by the way, but the Good Dollar is really epic. So I don't know how many people here know about Good Dollar. But
so it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah,
so
it's really,
Yeah. So it's using basically crypto technology to try to see if we can create a mechanism and an ecosystem and community for the distribution of capital. And so it is a community of dozens of countries. And if you look at our good dollar footprint, tons of people in Malaysia, in Philippines, in Nigeria. And those individuals not only benefit from the capital distribution that Good Dollar has, but now they are part of a network of people that are on Good Dollar that they can connect off-grid to start doing business together in other ways. This is what I mean about the force multiplier of digital assets, right? And the communities that they power. So I think that, again, I think this is such an exciting space. No matter, right now, obviously, it's a little chilly, right? It's a little wintry. But I think, all innovations have that. So I feel like when you come into this space, you got to have the resiliency of years ahead and not whether it's a year or two.
Yeah, exactly. And check out my Twitter PFP. It's a couple diamond hands. Because I think that's where we are as an ecosystem. So, when I started CryptoMondays, I started the meetup I wanted, which was nobody talking. Because most of the time somebody's talking, I really wish they'd shut the fuck up. But, now... But now, so we keep it to a half hour, and it's 20 minutes of me now. But it's awesome because now I invite people that I want to learn from, right? And that I think if I'm learning, I think other people in the community are learning. It's awesome. And so it's 20 minutes of questions from me, 10 minutes of questions from the audience. So if anybody out in the audience has a question, that they'd like to ask, and I will, if nobody has one, I'll start off. Oh, there you go.
So I'm all for trying to give people, the general public, access to all kinds of financial instruments. But every time there's some kind of major problem in the crypto space, FEI or UST obviously, you realize that a large proportion of these people had no idea what they were actually buying. I see people buying assets with things like negative convexity.
Yes, we've heard of Terra.
Sure, but even other things like they buy perpetual futures or power perpetual futures or assets with negative convexity.
Yeah, I think she gets the question, right?
Yeah.
This is
So
not...
it's a funny balance,
I get
right?
it. So let me tell you my backstory. I'm from Ethiopia. I came no money in my pocket. And I don't want anybody getting in my way of telling me how to acquire assets and accumulate assets for my children. That's the mental framework.
Hold
that I
on a
have.
minute. Let's give
Right?
an applause for that.
So,
Let fucking nobody, that's what I'm here for, is to let fucking nobody get in your way of doing whatever the fuck you want.
Just for the record, I did not say F though.
By the way, I'm wearing the shirt too, right? Fuck them all.
Okay. So my mama will snatch me up from the grave if I use your language, but okay. So
Yes,
I would
I'm
say,
sorry.
but I would say, that's one element of it. Like this parental attitude we have for individuals. You know what ends up happening? We create regulations that ends up icing out the individual. Only institutionals end up making money, and individuals don't end up owning capital. So the answer
But they
is
get to
not
buy a lottery ticket.
Yes, but the answer is not to chill the environment. The answer is not to have a mental framework of you don't know better, right? I am seeding the ground that there is individuals that do lose for sure, right? There is a moral hazard we have to manage for. But what I am proposing though is that approach should not be a parental one that says you don't know what you're doing, but rather a promotion of transparency, a promotion of individual responsibility. Like, don't invest stuff you can't lose per se, right? A promotion of education, a promotion of communities teaching each other like we do on our platform, right? I am not disagreeing there's moral hazard. I disagree with some of the tool sets that people use around it, which end up icing out individuals from being able to accumulate capital.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, seriously, rock and roll to that. Anybody else? So I will ask a question. So talk about your experience interacting with Israel, because it's kind of a different culture.
I love them, man. I love them. Maybe because I'm originally from Ethiopia, and there's an element of like I get along.
Well, a
with
lot of you
cultures.
guys, when you left Dodge, you went to
Yeah, I didn't lose Dodge, but yeah, but I think that part of it is I think there's a cultural connection I have from the original motherland that I came from. But I'm a proud American now, just to be for the record. But so I get along with them culturally. They're kind of warm, and they speak their hearts. They're open-minded, but at the same time convicted. I love that. So I get along with them. fine.
So again, I'll open up the questions if anybody has one. I think we're talking to somebody who's sitting in a seat and seen a lot. So if nobody else, I'll ask one. So as you're growing your business, what are the major metrics that you're focused on?
So first for us, because we are still, we are trying to make our way into becoming, so if you don't know about eToro globally, we're really sort of like the Robin Hood of Europe and part of Asia, etc. Right? So what we're trying
That's scale,
that's
right?
scale. So that's scale. So what we're trying to do in the US is really to become that contender of a fintech that has a digital asset and a capital markets and sort of accessibility. So part of it is because we're still growing, it's about creating community. So, eToro has 27 million community members, of which 2.4 million are account holders, right? So my measuring stick is not just about an account holder or trading, it's about the ecosystem of the community you create. And that's going to be a big thing for us, right? Whether you put money in our platform to invest in it, or whether you just logged in, accessed it to be part of the community, to practice investing with fun money, if you will. We see that all as beneficial for growth and beneficial for, again, I'm not doing this just for money. I really, really in my heart believe in access to capital, investing, and innovation for individuals and not just institutions.
Hard not to give a big applause to that, right? So what are you hoping to get out of Consensus? So this is, when did you get in?
Yeah. What is that saying? May you ever be an eternal student. I'm here as a student to learn, to connect with people, to keep getting the energy from this crazy community. I love it. I was telling somebody who, I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I was telling somebody it feels like America is so balkanized unless you go to a crypto conference, and it's just the most odd combinations of people, which is so lovely. So both to get the energy from the cultural context of what this place is, and to learn, and to connect, and to learn from others.
So what was the last thing that you learned about?
What is the last thing I learned about? That's a hard question. I'm learning all the time.
Yes, exactly. I know. What was the last time you said, fuck, how is that a thing? Oh my God, how did I not know that before?
So let's just baseline. I never think to myself, how did I not know that before? Because I know I don't know a whole lot of shit. But I think the last time I learned the thing that went, was when I really sort of understood the power of DAOs, right? What they meant in terms of, as I said, the community and the ownership of the individuals being able to own that particular instrument, as well as the rules around it and the impact around it. And I have just been a convert of DAOs ever since.
And what was the time, what period that happened?
In the last few months, really. Yeah. Because remember, before that, I loved crypto, but I really didn't get into it from the underbelly of how it's constructed perspective. I knew about, obviously, investing, and I invested in it plenty. I knew about the community, I knew about the culture, I knew about blockchain, but really, these last few months, I've been with eToro now for about 8 months, have been a study of opening the hood and really understanding, which has been amazing.
So I don't want to harsh your mellow, because obviously, you've taken the pill. But, the biggest, so I've been doing this I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary. I saw the crypto one on June 29, 2017. And I would say that my biggest disappointment with the ecosystem is how little progress we made on governance and consensus.
I think the reality is, I think you can't underestimate how long it takes to build a new revolutionary structure. And I think the excitement of it was really high, but we knew that this was not going to be revolutionary. It's going to be evolutionary, right? Any enduring system. So I understand the disappointment, but I've not taken the pill. Let's just be real, right? So
I feel I've taken the pill. I would not have done this if I didn't think you had taken the pill.
Maybe a third eye, but I don't think it's it's not a naivete that I bring to this, right? So I think this thing is going to be tough. I think we're going to have a lot of.
Hold on a minute. What haven't you seen? I mean, are you like Warren Buffett? Is this, you know?
In what sense?
No, I'm so, and I appreciate you being open and saying that you haven't. But what about it? Have you not? Okay, I'm still not sure about that.
Well, I think it's the speed part, and I'm not sure. I don't believe the speed is as fast as people think it is. Like, you know, do you remember when everybody was saying how Bitcoin is a play against inflation, right? Do you remember that, when every pundit was saying that? But the reality is we are in an environment right now where, like, the experiment is not a clean one, right? You got the Fed who is readjusting, you know, the money flows, right? So there's so many other elements that are impacting the experiment. You've got a really tough regulatory environment that it's impossible to be so clear-eyed to say this is why it's slowed down. There's just way too many macroeconomic issues as to why we are where we are right now. So I feel like I'm not surprised by that. I was a student of economics. I'm not surprised by all of this. I think the key is who endures, who sticks around. And I do think, though, this is true. If America gets a little too overzealous with, and I respect the gentleman from the back, with, again, this idea on two folds. One is over-regulation, or this idea that the individual has to be parented. I definitely think that it'll go somewhere else, and this will be the loss of America.
So, you know, what I love about, you know, being a part of this community is, you know, you know, the only thing that I'm sure of is that whatever it ends up being is different than what anybody thinks it's going to be. That's, you know, that's my religion. And so, at this point, you know, I think, you know, if folks, yeah, obviously you've been thinking about this a lot, and I look forward to continuing the dialogue. I do these Crypto Mondays. I think the majority of the value, as awesome as you are and we are and blah, 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 I think the majority of the value is from everybody else in the room, because most of the people in this room are really epic. So blah, blah, blah with them, and we'll do it afterwards, and let's give her a big hand.
Thank you.
And one more big round of applause. The one and only Lou Carter, Lule, the Missy, E-Porter, and you had 8 months in a job. I think it's going to be a wild ride to pick up where you left off, Lule. It's going to be a wild ride over the next year. The printing presses are no longer running from the Fed. And Lule, there was one more question. The gentleman on the left, you had a question for Lule, so don't hesitate. She's super friendly. She's right about the
Come on over.
Yeah, go scoot on over. Alicia from the Throws team, catch them now and fire away as you need to with your inquiring mind. That is, so for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Jordan French, executive editor and founder at Grit Daily News. You're at Grit Daily House. Just give us 10 minutes or so, not even. And other than Tim Tello is here, pocket full of quarters, the first ERC20 token to get a no action letter from the SEC. Did I get that right, Tim? Nailed it. And he'll be up in about 8 minutes or so. I'll Lou right back up on stage so you don't want to miss it. We'll cue the music. Enjoy the reception. I'd be remiss to say, big round of applause if you just open the door for Ozzy. Big round of applause for Ozzy, the bartender, is back there, slinging away deep vodka. I think there's some IPAs and plenty of mother kombuchas and agua buchas. It's delicious, refreshing. If y'all like B12, it's flush with it. The other B vitamins, not so much. But check out that brand, it's really delicious. And Waterloo, sparkling, they're always really good to us. Make a big batch delivery. Stay hydrated. I know it's pretty warm this evening. So don't step away. We'll be right back in just a moment. Thank you.
So you're setting up the operation and you have been over
We're fans of
Lovely.
Benjamin. You're at Ebro as well?
Yes.
So where is he based?
Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
yourself. I think it looks full of
Picture where
You've done a few calls in the past.
Okay.
that's why you're one of the sponsors.
Yeah, no, we were back there.
But I've got a back feeling.
Great. I got a great picture of you guys. Thank you.
That was fun. Right? I'd like to tell you a story. That's what I really... So it's an epic story. Building a community.
I hope that the event stops now.
The thing is, in Boston, the accent is very, it's hyper.
Sorry, are you going to get into shot? I have a question for you. Jim, by the way. Yeah, the problem I'm working on, which I'm not really ready to do anything with, is I'm trying to figure out how to get a way of crowdsourcing credit to poor people who the financial system doesn't want, through a tokenized system of where like an asset, like a house, would be purchased by the collective, and then the person would earn equity in it by paying for it, and then eventually own all the tokens to own it.
The house.
Yeah.
Or when get a house?
Well, or whatever.
Or they
income. It's a buy, yeah.
Okay.
But one of the things that worries me about all the people keep talking about the 1.6, 2 billion people with no bank and is they don't have intergenerational assets. The very poor don't have any way to leave anybody anything, or even any way to record deeds that says they owned anything. And so I was really interested in this idea on. So I signed up for your wallet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to. The idea that you could put another face on that.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So that's like an inheritance, right?
Yeah, so that you could, or have community property.
Yeah.
That we don't wait for somebody.
Yes, sir.
But yes. By the way, I signed up for a Coinbase wallet not that long ago.
Yeah.
100 more steps than this.
Of course.
So anyway, yes.
On the way, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I signed up for this.
What's it, 10 bucks?
It's a start, right?
It's money, pretty much.
Yeah, we just need internet for that. Yeah. So 1 second. All right. So I hope you enjoy the UX.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
On the way.
Awesome.
You enjoy the app though?
Yeah. Are you gonna be able to buy NFTs on OpenSea?
Sure, you can do that already. So you can go back to, you have, 1 second. How do you go back to the, yeah. So you have here, connect to apps.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
Just do.
Oh, sweet.
When you have it. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, but the gas fees are still same, just OpenSea.
Everything is the same.
Okay.
Everything is the
So
same.
Olga, back to
Hey, how are you?
Okay, so nice to meet you. I host the Crypto Mondays here in Austin.
Yeah, I know. I saw.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Oh, did he?
Before you
Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten to that point yet.
do all the event stuff,
Just signed up to this, but
working with Consensus, and just spoke at Decepticon, and I'm very active in Austin and DFW.
Yeah, what do you speak about?
A little panel about blockchain gaming.
Yeah.
I ended up on a panel with a bunch of influencers that all knew each other. So like, yeah, but it was cool.
Part of it is like
Yeah, it sounds good.
But yeah, I'm working with CoinDesk to all this stuff with Consensus, and trying to get more plugged in to do more events. You guys down here too.
Now I'm over here at Factory.
Are you here? Are you based here?
The duct tape is pretty thick. Is it live streaming all this time?
But I'm glad you're finally able to come to
Oh, is it?
America now.
Yeah. And when you're like in the shot, you're in the shot. Sorry. Thank you.
Well, no, Israel was letting you. Right? Remember, Israel had to
It's
make
okay.
because America was on the red list. So
You want me to mute it now? It's okay.
No, I'm not on there. I am on LinkedIn actually, but I never used it. Yeah, you just like I actually have.
You might actually step in, like off the side and create a little pathway.
I'm Damien, by the way.
Damien, I'm Jordan French with Grit Daily.
This is my portfolio.
It's a tight space. It's like one side event that was
Twitter is a
Oh, that's right.
My name is Emir, so it's I think everybody knows.
I forgot about that. Miami, yeah. It was.
Everybody was like in the middle of all the message. I think everybody was positive there.
A lot of people that I was with they all got saved.
But then they took me group that was coming in at the same time. They were like, we don't think these guys are working. So if you want, you can also do
Well, nice meeting you. I will see you since I'm managing the Twitter orders. I'll be there so I'll talk to you more about.
Will they still have more tacos? Or is it more
They're not white. They're not
But that's because I have a couple of other seasons.
Yes, you don't want to.
I gotta slow down a little bit.
I traveled enough for this winter. Boston as well. I'm trying to do the accent.
You said Boston pretty good.
Yeah, Boston is kind of.
Yeah.
I know. That's my first when I
I just advise projects. I'm not very
retired.
I didn't look back at when he's 17.
Really cool. Great. I was thinking I did yesterday.
I feel like that's I don't know.
I'm old. I'm awesome. This guy is I don't know if I like that or some of his books could go into more depth. Because like I'm a data guy.
You are not part of the He just explained that he's a financial engineer.
I was the last class at Xengo that they still use the financial engineering because this was 2002. And I was going to go, I don't know, I was going to go to Enron. I did a weather group evaluation project second year. And then, boom. And so then they took the financial engineering name away. This guy
Oh my God.
I guess it's a it doesn't sound like I know. Well, again, from Boston, it's a very so like I love like process, like fear, distraction, which is maybe to help them. They have a different drawer.
Oh wow. Cell phone? Talking about like video.
Are you masked?
I don't know if it's still running or not. Is it running or is it recording now? It's
Okay. Well, I just wanted to be sure that someone records that I'm here.
The microphone is here too.
On the sailor.
One of the things I like about it is that it's big enough to touch like weight like globally, but it was still small. It's like I was a punk rock and you'd have all like groups, all like the whole spectrum of punk rock everywhere. Whereas in New York, it's very like you go to like a group like it's jazz. Whereas Boston is small. There's only one party. So is that your recording? Is that your recording?
It's a live stream, and basically it's on the stage up there without the last panel. Yeah, and it's verified though. It's verified. We just got verified. And if you start reselling, it's gonna come up first.
So UST is stable advance. And then the second thing is that I have a general crypto business. I feel like it's crossed over. I got to lots of places every single crypto area. Is that we are with the DAOs, especially with some of the early ways that kind of made like Bitcoin as a society of software, technical software. Is that we are basically going to structurally embed early inequality in crypto. It's the system going forward forever. The way it is very hard to account. For sure. But until DAO is one token, one vote, like a dollar, but it's even better than votes. I gotta spend $1 million to get 1,000 or 10,000 votes. I'd rather spend $1 million to get a place votes.
Part of that is you're having like followers following. And by the way, it's actually knowing people that you know.
Rubbing off on you.
The transformation is not complete.
Doesn't that depend on the algorithm of the leaders? We optimistic about that.
Almost done.
So quick talk, wrap it up at like 7:30. Oh, okay. Much earlier.
Oh, yeah, you added. You said we talk about this.
Wrap up to this point. You have
That's what you do with your hedge fund.
someone or you long
Right at it.
Yeah, no, I see.
It's not bad now.
Similar following and the thing is that they were getting paid by funds to buy the leaders' stuff.
Wraps it off at 36. So he's gonna talk.
I'd like to do, I don't know if you guys are looking at branching into financial products. Some of them always are very excited. It never quite makes us well, that's different. So I want to hear it. Okay, great.
Louis, you ready?
Yep. That's also make models to understand the kind of situations, right? Like a lease, think of like a lease versus buying a car. Or what kind of used car should I buy? Grab the prices. It's great things like you trade. You're trying to
everyone. For those who are joining us, welcome to Grit Daily House. The executive editor and founder of Grit Daily News Outlet. We had an eager fireside chat. So I won't delay attention for just a moment. Just a moment. Krimnarani is here. He's in the house with link to Stefan. Yeah, there he is. Krimnarani with link to. Go say hi to Krim. Super friendly. They've been on a tear. Link 2 has been on an absolute tear this year. If you're in a pre-IPO investing or if you have allocation, and those VCs kind of popping in and out. Big investments, family funds that you guys run. Talk to Krimnarani right here on my left. Other than the Ito Sofa right now, he's exchanging contact info. I know he's solving some real problems with Zengo. Some cool tech solutions there too, but they're best known for their facial recognition wallet. How many of y'all know about MetaMask? Can I get a raise of hand of people who know about MetaMask? Just no, you don't have to have it on your phone. It's okay. So raise a hand. I know there's more raise a hand. John, you know about MetaMask. You heard of MetaMask, right? MetaMask has problems. MetaMask has problems? Does Zengo have problems that MetaMask has? No. With a 12-word password with MetaMask that everyone's lost. Because I would know. I'm going to tell you a little quick anecdote. Partner at VC NFT launch firm. We worked mostly with the launch of an NFT project that had 5,000 buyers. And the average age was 72, age 72. Imagine people who are age 72 trying to use MetaMask. That's balls. Nightmare. Would have been a lot easier with Zengo. I wish I had known Ito at the time. So that would have been 5,000 more users of Zengo. So if you have a face, you can use Zengo. And remember 12 words. So if you don't have a face, you don't use Zengo. So anyone who's faceless here, Zengo is not going to work. But if you have a face, you can use Zengo. Anyway, talk to Ito. So for a big round of applause for him. For those who are here, heard him earlier. Ito! Woo! He'll be inside and get a little bit of cool air. So without delay, Luke Kerner is here. I'm going to hand it over in just a bit. The one and only.
Okay, rock and roll. Thanks. And let's give him, because I got to tell you, this has been a great partnership for Crypto Mondays. I get to come and sit and have a conversation, jam with, I think, one of the most interesting companies in the space at the moment. And, it's funny that the crowd is here, but I'm pretty sure, seriously, that everybody in the crowd is going to be bragging, hey, I saw them. So, here we are. Yeah, I think, so I think these guys are doing literally the most epic thing of any project I'm currently involved with. So,
well, I definitely appreciate that. So Pocket Full of Quarters is, it says on the title that we're the first token to get an SEC no action letter, but it goes so beyond that. We're the first token to be a verified Unity partner. We're the first token to...
Hold on a minute, but you gotta stop. It helped because most people don't understand how epic that is.
Yeah, so
understand what Unity is.
Let me do the kindergarten version. We help video games get onto blockchain without ever needing a blockchain engineer. Basically everything that Forte's ever promised, we've done it. We helped create Matic Polygon on the first layer 2s. Jancy Pinani was our first developer. We worked with the SEC to get that first ever no action letter. I authored the patent for the use of blockchain in a video game. We went on to get the first credit card processing for both, not only for video games, but also for cryptocurrency. So we're the only crypto that can sell their token without ever having to be on an exchange.
And by the way, so you're saying a lot of things which are all awesome, but even that last one, just to stop for a moment, because there are a laundry list of epic things the company's done, but one of them actually is you guys have a patent on using cell phones for KYC AML.
Yeah, so, Mike was thinking about, Mike's very much...
So Michael Weichner, one of the founders, is a Stanford PhD.
In Princeton computer science. So Mike is very much by the book, right? I'm more of operating in the gray area. So we kind of balance each other. You know, I like to do things more of the crypto way, and Mike likes to do things more of the Wall Street way. And in doing that, you know, we've thought about like how to become an asset, how to make sure we exclude U.S. investors, and in doing so, as we thought about it, he realized that it's very hard to fake where a cell phone is coming from, right? And you can use a cell phone to basically KYC and whitelist a person based on their region, and we can tell if it's coming from Google or if it's being like kind of like how, you know, on Binance you can get online and you can fake it with a VPN. You can't fake a cell phone like that, even if you use
Exactly, and that's why, I mean, I noticed that, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be epic.
Yeah, so we can whitelist anyone in the world and create, you know, different asset classes based on true investor pools and KYCs.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've been around since the beginning, right?
So I originally met Pocketful of Quarters at the second CryptoMondays when the 12-year-old kid pitched me and crushed it, and over the last few years I've seen them execute. They've got the first again, you know, and you should help them understand. So they have the first SEC-approved ERC token.
Still the only,
Still the only one. And understand, right? Everybody like who's fucking doesn't have their head in the sand knows there's something going on. But if you're at a big company, you don't want to. You can't bet the company on some bullshit new, you know. But if there's a way to do it in a compliant fashion.
Well, there's a reason that major video games haven't jumped on to blockchain, and there's a reason we only have 100 million users in the blockchain space and not the 3 billion users in the video game space. And it's simply because there's no compliance and regulation, there's no true interoperability, and Pocketful of Quarters has figured all those things out. We've worked with the SEC to make a safe, reliant, and compliant solution on the blockchain.
But I think even more importantly, you've worked with the community, right?
Well, we work with the community to create the DAO, and the DAO.
But it's really a community of gamers.
Well, yeah, but like, so everyone that we're trying to bring on, we're bringing Web2ers to Web3.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have about 2 million users as of right now, and we're growing at about 30% per month. And so what we do is, you know, they never even know they're using Web3, which I think is the most important part. You have one authorization signature, and if
I literally, I mean, I really think that's you know, I'm big on education, but I think at the end of the day, most people don't want to get educated. They want to, you know, nobody got educated, right?
I think
on this, they picked it up and they got value, and that's where we need to get to.
I truly believe the onboarding of Web3 is kind of like the internet. You don't really need to understand how it happened. You just need to understand that it works.
And you get value.
Yeah, and there's value given back to you. So like, we believe in the Roblox model, right? Roblox was able to take a $2 LTV in video games and increase it to $300 LTV. Why? Because they have Robux. Robux is one token based on a server, similar to how an ERC20 works, but it goes to 1,000 different games. So that 1,000 games increases the value of that token. And so when most people spent $2 in a video game lifetime, now they see $300.
So yeah, and just so people appreciate, so on a, you know, annualized basis, what's your revenue?
Right now, I think we're probably the only blockchain project that actually has true revenue.
Yeah, it's the number one, according to DAP Radar, the number one by like more than 2x.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, let's put it this way. Every EVM compatible chain pays us simply straight up $1 million to work with us, period. And they have to work with us, or they have no way of onboarding video games onto their blockchain. They have no way of instantly doing it. We've seen video games in style A, right? We're watching these terrible games. I wouldn't even say are A.
But it's your players. I mean, the vast majority of your revenue is not from the L1, it's from the players.
That's not exactly true. I would say that the games that we bring on also will come with players, because we're very good at taking any free-to-play game that's out there right now and instantly converting it into Web3, and then putting it on chain, so those transactions are then happening on chain. And you know, the battle right now amongst every layer 2 and layer 1 is to have the most transactions. That's what developers and people are looking at to basically calibrate in their minds who is the best chain, right? That's why Polygon, even though it's duct taped together, is considered the best chain out there as of right now. But if you actually look deep into what Polygon is, it's broken, right? And they keep adding on like Polygon X.
And by
Polygon.
broken, you mean in parentheses, right?
I mean, JT's a great guy, but like they haven't done what it takes to evolve that chain.
It has challenges.
It has challenges. Yeah, there we go. Let's call it that. But we helped create that. So I think we were thinking about gas fees back when Ethereum was 99 cents a transaction. Because me, Mike, and Jancy were having a phone call, and I said no one's gonna ever pay 99 cents for a transaction and 99 cents for their tokens.
But we got to back up because most of the people have no idea what the company is. So why don't you start there at a like very macro level? Because what you guys do is epic.
We bring video games to the blockchain without an engineer. That's the simplest way I could say it. You don't, right now it costs $200,000 to hire a blockchain engineer. We work with Unity, which is the largest video game engine in the world, where you can just plug and play our SDK directly into your game and you're instantly on the blockchain. You can pick any chain that we work with, all the EVM compatibles, Near, we just signed Harmony, we're about to sign Algorand, we're about to sign a bunch of others. Once you work with those chains, you can literally just pick whatever chain you want. We have a wallet that holds all your tokens on the back end. You can go straight into OpenSea with it. Through our Clayton and Polygon partnerships, you can.
Hold on a minute. Who the fuck is? I'm sorry. Who is Clayton?
Clayton is the largest blockchain out of South Korea. Which is owned by Kakao.
If you're not like aware of, they're probably, I think, the most, if they're not the first, but the second, in terms of crypto penetration in society and adoption.
Well, it's because of Kakao. So they own Kakao Talk, which has 200 million users.
Exactly. Yeah. They're the cell phone company.
Yeah, they own Kakao Talk, which would be like the WeChat of China. And if WeChat had their own blockchain, it would probably be amazing
but it's a highly engaged society.
It's all based on metaverse and gaming.
Yes.
And it has the lowest gas fees for any layer 2. It's the fastest operating of any layer 2. And they're doing a lot to bring in, the right partnerships like OpenSea and Starkware and others to help build it and make it faster. They're working with companies like Microsoft now to really set themselves apart from everybody else. And if you don't know about them, you should definitely Google them.
Yeah, undoubtedly, and seriously, I did not know about them, and then I Googled them, and yes.
It's crazy the stuff they're doing. David Chin is doing an amazing job.
It turns out Samsung is
one of their biggest investors.
Has big tentacles. So again, I had questions for a while. Anybody, these guys I think been around. Anybody want to ask for a question? If not, going once, going twice. Let's give them a big hand. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that happened back when right after the 2017 crypto boom, and at the time.
And again, just repeat the question in case people didn't hear it.
He was asking me, to elaborate more on the SEC no action letter and how that came about in the time.
In 2017.
It happened in 2018, but in 2017 there was Clayton had nothing to do with it. They weren't even around yet. We were working directly with Lewis Cohen, who is probably the #1 crypto lawyer in my opinion in the country, and we were looking at ways to get into Apple and Google. So a lot of people don't know we're the only cryptocurrency that can be purchased and accepted in Apple and the Google distribution. At the time, in order to get into Apple and Google and to get credit card processing, which was a terrible time to try to get credit card processing for a video game or crypto, it was nearly impossible for both. We basically had to work directly with the SEC to create a compliant model. And so we created the first ever 2-token model. We created our token that sits on the blockchain as a utility token for video games, which was what actually received the SEC no action letter. And then we set our second token as a buy and burn model of the first token, where it doesn't act in speculation, but it acts in profit building of the first token, if that makes sense. So basically what happens is, as people are buying and they are part of our DAO and owning the Q2 tokens, that money then goes into the DAO and then is distributed as grants back into the economy for developers and for video games and for the people in the DAO.
Right, so obviously you guys were blazing a trail.
Well, so we were a lot of firsts in a lot of things.
Exactly.
We've been around, like I said, since the beginning. Like the first, first for video games, the first for credit cards, the first, first to probably 2 million users.
But it's like crazy to think about that, right? When if you think about what
I worked really hard, so it's not crazy to me. I've been busting my ass on this for 5 years, so it's not too crazy for me. And I think one of the things is, a big difference between us and everybody else is there's video game people, there's crypto people, there's very little crypto games people. And, I come from the video game space with a decade in video games. Mike went to Princeton with the founder of Avalanche and Eamon, and was best friends with John Woo, the president of Avalanche, and we were the first ones to find James Punani, and we were the first. So we've been around and working with all these founders since the beginning, and we kind of built what is crypto gaming. I would say, I've literally said it, and some people tell me to knock my ego down a little bit. We are the founders of the metaverse. We built that.
It's weird because maybe you should, but you got to be you, and I respect that. Rock and roll. But you guys are totally blazing a trail.
Yeah.
I think I've been doing this 5 years, and so Kareem, he's over here, he's looking for like the next big thing, right?
Well, so we've literally skirted under the radar. When everyone else shut down in 2018 and went away, we didn't. I got a call from Caleb at Engine when NFT started booming again. He's like, "Hey, come run my whole company. I'll pay you a fortune." I was like, "Dude, I can't. You don't know anything about video games. You don't know. You were a filmmaker. You don't know what you're talking about. How can I help you if you don't know where to begin?" And I've built the right team. I have guys like Chris Cross, who made Medal of Honor in the first 2 Call of Duties. I got guys like Mark Kaplan, who was the senior vice president of Sony, head of licensing and consumer products. He literally brought Spider-Man from Marvel to Sony.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Yeah, I just signed Stan Lee.
Yeah. Stan Lee.
Yeah, so I have Stan Lee and his 4 IPs that have never been released before. To create comic books, video games, NFTs. We've been working.
And that's the moment where we are, seriously, where the IP realizes that if they want to be, right, in the next thing.
So I think what the difference, though, is people have definitely came at them and thrown them a lot of money. And IP holders only want to work with people they trust. And they've been working with me for a decade and Mark Kaplan for 30 years.
But what are you selling them?
I'm selling them, well, 1, trust, 2, the right placement, the right team to build it, the right placement on the chain, because we work with all those chains.
To build their metaverse.
To build their metaverses, their NFTs, their game projects, their token models, we're building their full economies. And they don't want to do it with someone they've never known before. They don't want to do it with someone that doesn't have any game experience. They don't want to do it with people that have no comic book experience. We have one of the best Disney artists doing all of our comics. Like, literally a storyboard artist.
At the end of the day, proofs in the pudding. You guys have massive numbers of players.
Yeah.
Yeah, spending money in your economy, right? And at the end of the day, what else matters?
Transactions. So we think the real value and what our real money's going to be is we're going to be the beast of the metaverse. And basically, every time you run a transaction, because all of our tokens will be the tokens in the ecosystems that you don't know you're using, we can reduce platform fees on video games from 30% down to 7%. That's 4% for our credit card processor and 3% for us. And you don't now collect 93 cents on the dollar instead of 70 cents as a video game developer. But every single time a transaction happens in any video game or any metaverse or anything like that, we will be collecting a check.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I thought it was a pretty interesting discussion from one of the most, I think, forward, in terms of connecting the different things that are going on to help us move forward. I think you guys are doing something really special.
I appreciate that.
No questions.
Big round of applause. Tim Tello, Possible Accord. That concludes our programming. Thanks for joining us today. And then one more for those who just joined us too in the last talk. One more big round of applause for Ito Sofer, who's here today with us with Zengo on the back. Say hi to Ito with Zengo. For those of you using MetaMask or some other wallet and have had trouble with it like I have, and if you have a face, that's all you need. That's all you need for Zengo. So talk to him about some of the stuff he's doing. Prem Narani's here. Say hi to him. You're Link2. Those who are uninitiated, Link2, popular free IPO investment app. Yeah, we got some Link2 fans in the house. Couple of downloads. Like I said, that concludes our programming. We'll go back to reception format for a bit. Feel free to hang out. I think there's just a tiny bit of food left. They nailed it with that. How are the steak and shrimp tacos over there? Pretty amazing. Big round of applause for Ozzy the bartender in back, slinging away Deep Eddy's vodka, frozen drinks, and Waterloo. What else back there? Mother Kombucha. Tanya Donati's Mother Kombucha. I'm Jordan French. Have a good rest of your night here. And I'll see you tomorrow with Link2.
I also one project I work with, I do accounting really closely. They're not doing for LinkedIn, but they're much more. They just did the back now.